Come on in, family. Come on in. Voice of the people. Good afternoon. Make sure this volume all the way up. Good afternoon, family. Come on in. Give y'all a little minutes. A little minute to get on. First of all, I want to start off by saying, and I want you to understand me clearly when I say this, if you're a Trump supporter, go ahead and delete yourself. You know. Go ahead. Let me repeat it one more time so you can get the clarity of it, the understanding of it, the effectiveness of it. If you are a Trump supporter, go ahead and delete yourself, because when I find out that you're a Trump supporter, I'm deleting you. So let's begin right there. Then I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all jump on. Good afternoon, Sister Vassetti. This is not a preaching moment. This is not a teaching moment. This is an activist moment. This is a social moment. This is an economy moment. This is a community moment. Because I'm quite sure everyone saw the same thing that I saw. And I made sure that you saw it because I posted the video to my story. How you doing, Sister Willette Brown? And I posted it to my story. How you doing, Sister Tanya Chavis? What's up? Excuse me. And I posted it to my story so everyone could see it, so they can view it, so they wouldn't be in denial of it. Like put it right in your face. Some things people say they don't see, so they don't acknowledge it. What's going on, Cuz Carlos? Roseville in the building. So they act like they ain't gonna acknowledge it, like they didn't see it or what have you. But that's why I shared it on my story, so they can see it exactly right in their face. And you can't tell me, you being any kind of human, first of all, more than less, you being considering yourself being a Christian, being a man or woman of God, and not be concerned, not be moved, not be in mourning or outraged by what happened on that video. I watched that video several times last night as he begged for his life, as he pleaded for his life, as he asked for air, for help, to get up, to be able to breathe, you know. And so the total intentions was not just to arrest him, but to actually murder him while it's being filmed. We got to do something about that. I salute to everybody that's rioting over there in Minnesota at the police department. I'm an activist myself. I just got out of Facebook jail last night. I just got out of Facebook jail last night. So when you're a threat, when you're a voice, and when you put things that empower people, things that encourage people, things that strengthen people, things that educate people, things that wake people up, they don't like that. The systems that be, the elite, the Illuminati. And I'm quite sure if I've shown you throughout the years the letters that I've gotten from the Illuminati because they wish to silence my voice. But they can't silence my voice because they can't buy me, like they buy most preachers. I can't be bought, so ain't no position, ain't no prestige, ain't no credentials, ain't no covering, ain't no association, ain't no denomination, and any other thing that you can name that's going to stop me from being a voice that God has given me. I'm not in the clique. I'm not in the circle. I'm not in the group. I don't go along to get along. I don't play church. I'm not religious. So we can keep on adding on to that list. And that's another thing. If you're religious and you play church, you can delete yourself also. Because I'm watching and I'm monitoring to see who's really concerned, who's really protesting, who's really moved by this injustice. That'll let me know where you stand at. And I know there are a lot of you black leaders, as they like to say, African American leaders, who are real coons. And so let me announce that too. If you're a coon, you can go ahead and delete yourself too. That's family, friends, loved ones, associates, ministry partners, whoever. If you're a coon, go ahead and delete yourself. And I like to say this also to many of my so-called brothers. If you're a black man and you don't have a voice for black issues, activist issues, social issues, issues that affect our community, then guess what? You don't have a voice. That means you are mute. That means they have silenced you. They have bought you off. And I'm a realist, so I'm going to say it. Many of you that are leaders can't speak because the elite, the powers that be, the Illuminati, have integrated you. Let me break it down for you, because I know I have to educate you, because they don't tell you this kind of stuff. They don't preach to you this kind of stuff. They don't teach to you this kind of stuff. Your degree don't take you to this level of intelligence, of brilliance, of wisdom. When they integrated you into interracial marriage, yeah, I'm going to say that. Yeah, I'm going to go there. Because if you understood who you was as a black man, if you understood your history, your lineage, from which you came from, you wouldn't have went that way anyway. And I'll tell you to your face, brother. If you're married interracially, then you don't have a voice, because you never understood your history. You never understood you being a king. You never understood the power that came with your bloodline. You never understood what it takes to live in America, from how we were stolen from our land, from our empires. So, see, when I say you see empire, I'm talking about from way back. I'm talking about Africa. I'm talking about Egypt. I'm talking about Ethiopia. I'm talking about the motherland, the dynasties, the thrones, that they don't want to tell you about. Because you know why? Because if you ever get knowledge of yourself, of your history, from the lineage from which you came, then you can't be brainwashed. You can't be silenced. You can't be bought off. You can't be a coon. You can't go along to get along, and none of those things. And you will understand also that you're not inferior to any people, but that genetically, scientifically, biology, and spiritually, that you are the dominant. I'm I'm going to stop playing with them. Well, I don't play with them anyway. I mean. But, I give it to them raw and uncut. And this is not to downgrade none of my Christian white friends or associates or ministry partners or what have you. They know where I stand on these issues. And I like to make a statement to say it's not all of them, It's not all of them. It's just some of them that are hidden, because it's hidden in their heart. Like the Bible say, out of the heart, the abundance of the mouth speaketh. So you can tell by what they post, what they protest, or what they don't say. So I want you to carefully watch throughout the rest of this week who's posting, who's doing videos, who's protesting, who's educating, and who's putting things forth for this injustice that is going on in our land, There's no way possible that you could have watched that video of that officer taking his knee, putting it, which is a jiu-jitsu move, a martial arts move. Those of you that are in MMA, mixed martial arts, that's a martial arts move that the officer used on him. So he was cutting off his wind supply while the other three held him down so that he could murder him. So, of course, I'm not satisfied with they got fired. That's okay. That's cool. They got fired. I need to see some charges being filed because it is openly, directly murder. Live on camera. And let me help you understand one thing. I'm a black man. And a black man in America is America's worst nightmare. Educated, spiritual, got his life in order, progressing, educated, able to empower, able to inform, able to influence his community and those that he associate himself with, embodying God in the flesh. See, that's why, and I'm going to go there. That's why we have the image of the fake white Jesus, that they have in the churches. That's why we have people wearing these fake Jesus pieces, around their neck, in their ear. They got them over the baptism pool when they walk in their church. Some of them out in the area when you enter in there. Wake up, people. That's not Jesus. That's not Jesus. Read the description in the Bible. That's us. That's us. Hair like wool. Eyes like fire. Feet of bronze. That's bronze, people. That's bronze. Anyway, even if I was ashy, guess what? You couldn't get white out of that. You can't get Arab out of that. That's black. And let me give you another history lesson. Why have your attention? When you go to the story or the account of the Garden of Eden, and you have Adam, right? That's placed in the Garden of Eden, right? If you read down a couple of verses, it tells you that it was 4 rivers that went out from the Garden of Eden, right? So guess what? If the Garden of Eden went out, had 4 rivers that went out of it, right? Guess what? Guess what those rivers were? Let me give you a history lesson, because I know they don't teach it in seminary. I know they don't teach it in churches. I know they don't teach it in the school of prophets like they like to proclaim. I know they don't teach it in being apostolic or Pentecostal or being Baptist or being AME and all these things. They don't teach that the 4 rivers that went out in the garden was actually in Africa. I'm going to give you some homework just so you know that everything that I tell you is true. Just go do your research and find out what are the 4 rivers. I'm going to tell you one of the rivers that the Garden of Eden went out from, and it was the Nile River. Oh, man. Man. See, this is why I stay in Facebook jail. This is why I stay in Facebook jail. Because if you read my posts, if you read the things that I prescribe, if you follow my videos, you'll see I put out too much truth that's awakening people, that is delivering them out of bondage of religion, of things that people have been brainwashed with in church, and they want to contain people that way because guess what? It's a form of slavery. They use religion as a tool of slavery. See, they didn't steal slaves when they went to Africa. They stole kings. They stole princesses. They stole servants, scientists, doctors, lawyers, all those things. Let me give you the other part of the genocide of that is they don't mind you getting into entertainment. Because that would entertain them. If you're a comedian, if you're a basketball player, football player, those kind of things, a performer, that's okay. But if you become a doctor, you become a lawyer, you become a teacher, you become somebody of influence, somebody of power, then guess what? You have just become on America's hit list. America's hit list. And the fact of the matter is, the truth be told, black men, black boys are born on America's hit list. See, I came from the ghetto. I came from the hood. So that's why everything that I say, people know is true. Because I'm hustler for real. I'm hustler for real. So they can't fool me. They can't bamboozle me. Because guess what? My great-grandmother, she was a sharecropper, So I grew up in that era. I grew up when I was 4 or 5 years old. I used to go to the field with my great-grandmother, Idella Utsi, from Woodbine, Georgia, that migrated from Woodbine, Georgia to Roseville, South Carolina. So activism, socialism, knowing my history, knowing my identity of who I was of a young black king was instilled in me early. See, I didn't have to go to school to learn that. I didn't have to go to Bible college or seminary to learn those things because I was educated early about that. And see, sometimes when people are privileged, and like my great-grandma used to say, people that are born with a spoon in their mouth, they don't understand from whence we have come. Do you know, technically, we have really been literally almost free for about 50 years if we take it back to the civil rights movement? And I agree with my brothers from the Nation of Islam. You know, our approach to activism, our approach to racism, our approach to us being murdered and all these things should be that of a Malcolm approach. Because guess what? They do not respect us praying. Because prayer is not solving anything. You need action. You need action. You need what they are doing right now in Minnesota. You need to be going to the precinct, riding, showing them that, looks, this cannot continue. This will not be tolerated. And that the value, of the black man is important. It's life or death. Because the genocide on the other side of that is with our prison system, they're taking so many of our black boys that they're trying to decrease depopulation. That's why they added in interracial relations, because they know that we're the dominant gene, the dominant bloodline, and that, guess what? If you don't have the black man, then you can't populate the earth. When God told Adam about being fruitful and multiply, he kept going saying the same thing to every man in the Bible. He starts out and he goes to Abraham also. Be fruitful and multiply. He gave him Isaac, because of the promise, and we can go on and on and on. This seed line, this heritage line, It did the same thing also when Jesus was born. They kept on, how y'all doing? Welcome. I'm in a shift, so I'm saying hello to everybody. I can't say hello to everybody directly right now, but I see everybody. And Pharaoh, that's a representation of who Trump is right now. Pharaoh wants to kill all the young black boys and put them in jail, put them in prison and everything. But we got to start educating young black men that they don't need to be in gangs, Bloods, Crips, Vice Lords, GDs, and I can talk about all of them because I've been a Crip before, I've been a Blood before, I've been a Vice Lord before, I've been mob tied, with MS-13, all the way down to Mexico, El Salvador, all those things I can't even talk about. But the things of it is that you got to have a new mindset. You got to have a new approach to know who your enemy is and how to fight him. And guess what? It's the government. It's the Illuminati. Because guess what? It's the New World Order. The New World Order. So what I'm saying today is we need to be on our posts, representing, empowering, inspiring, encouraging, giving information, giving knowledge, giving wisdom, building up. We need to be unifying. We need to cut out all the, showing the videos of people fighting, and all the other foolishness, all the cutthroat stuff, throwing slander, downing, need to be building up, because that's the only way that we're going to rise, as we build one another up. It's going to start in your home, going to start in your community, and then you go to your local government, your legislators, and all those people, and you keep working up the chain till we get some people that can bring change. All right. One love to you. Bishop Anthony. Peace.